Good morning, students. I am Dr. Kamala, Assistant Professor of Political Science from New Government Degree College, Serlingampalli, Rangareddy District, Telangana. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about the concept of power. So, today we'll continue. First, we will revise what we have discussed. Okay. So, we have discussed how the political power plays an important role in the and important role in day-to-day administration, right? And why power has occupied so much importance in the scope of political science, right? And it is also known as we have also discussed about its objectives, right? Means to understand actually what is the meaning and definition of power and the nature and features of power we have already discussed, and the types and kinds of power. And not only this, we have discussed about different meanings of power. Means the power actually, it is called as, it is denoted in different meanings like horsepower, right, intellectual power, divine power, social power, healing power, purchasing power, executive power, military power. So, do you remember all this we have discussed in the previous class? Yes? Yes, very good. Right. So, and not only that, we have discussed about definitions. So, have you learned the definitions? At the end of the session, I'll ask you the definitions, okay? So, one by one, you have to state the statements, right? Okay, so remember the definitions, right? And so we have discussed about definitions which were actually stated by Schwarzenberger, right, and Edward Skills and Morgan Doe we have discussed, right? And we also discussed that actually the term power for the first time was used by Thomas Hobbes in 17th century in his famous work Leviathan, which was published in 1651. Okay, and we also discussed about the ways of identifying power. Now, actually, Robert Dahl, in his modern political analysis, actually expressed that it is possible to identify certain powers under certain specific conditions. So, actually, he stated that they are office, ability to hire officers, analysis of actual decisions, right? And analysis of actions of the partners. This we have discussed in the previous class. And not only that, we have also discussed about formal sources, right, and personal sources, right. So today we will discuss about the features of power. Now see, features, as every individual or every unit we have certain features. So also the power also has certain features. So it is actually utilized indirectly. Now it is indirectly how it is used behind the curtains, not means on the screen, but it is behind the screens and without any direct involvement. Okay, so it is utilized in indirectly. Like for example, the real power, whichever the real power is exercised, it is exercised in the name of nominal executive, right? Now nominal executive will show his face, the real executive will be behind the curtains. Okay, Only for the name's sake, actually, the nominal head will be directly will be there. He will be utilized. So all the powers will be utilized. What? In the name of nominal executive, right? Not only that, the power is exercised through several restrictions. See, several restrictions are imposed. Okay, why imposed? Restrictions are why imposed? Yes, sometimes power is exercised. See, power is used both negatively and positively. If we take positively, if restrictions are imposed, that restrictions will be for the welfare of the what society or the state or the nation. Okay. For example, in this pandemic situation, central as well as state is imposing certain restrictions, right? Even our institutions are closed. Why? Because to control this pandemic situation, right? Now this is a positive sign, we can say. So power is exercised through several restrictions, and what and it is a relative, we are saying. Power is relative. So see, now we have discussed, earlier we have discussed that it is exercised through several restrictions. So several restrictions will be imposed for the benefit of the state or a nation. Now we are saying that it is relative. So in the common good of the society, this power is utilized. Okay, it is exercised for benefit of, for not benefiting only the few, but for the benefit of the whole nation. Okay, and for the benefit of the whole world, we can say. Sometimes, if for example, if WHO, World Health Organization, is giving certain restrictions or directions, then what it is relative. Why? Because it is not for the benefit of few, but it is going to benefit the whole universe. Okay, did you got, students? Yes, shall I proceed? Yeah. Now power is legitimate. What is legitimate? Actually, that which is reasonable or acceptable. Okay, everyone has to accept, right? Why? Because it is reasonable, made for the benefit of the nation or made for the benefit of the universe. Okay, so power is legitimate. Now another feature is that the power is recognized by all in a political community. Now whatever the state takes the decisions, that power is recognized by all political, that is means in all the whole of the state will be following, and not only following, it is recognized. Okay, and power is enforceable on all person, including those who defy or disagree, to obey through rigid discipline. Okay, now see, enforceable. Now it is forcibly the power, whether you obey or disobey, it can be imposed on you in order to follow certain restrictions. Okay, so that is see, if a curfew is imposed, for example, if there is any disturbance, then if it is curfew is imposed in certain areas, then what happens? All have to obey this. Okay, if you don't like, also you have to obey, right? If you obey, it's okay, but if you are not agreeing with that, but you should obey, because it is in order to control the discipline. They have means the state or the nation will take rigid restrictions that cannot be changed for. Now, another feature is that power is in accordance with the actual conditions. Power is in accordance with the actual conditions. So, what are actually the actual conditions? For example, if you take, for example, this due to change of weather, if lot of floods come, or if for example the corona situation, or for example if there is a Indo-China war, I'm giving the example, okay. So in that conditions, the power is exercised in accordance to the actual. Today if it is some problem, according to that actual situation, the power is exercised, okay. Now, another feature is power is clear, complete and comprehensive in nature. For example, if you take the example of constitution, it is in a written document, right? So, written statement. So, who exercise which power, that is very much clear, right? Because it is a written form of document, right? And the power helps on realizing the aspirations and wishes of the individual. See, for whom sake actually this power is means the power is allotted to the sovereign. The sovereign is become powerful only according to the wishes, because see, sovereign individual power is transferred to sovereign power. How? For example, in political science, through elections we will elect our representative and he will become powerful, right? So why is coming into power? Because it is the aspirations and wishes of the individual. So individuals' aspirations will be realized only through their executive, right? So that is, power helps on realizing the aspirations and wishes of individual. Next, power depends on efficiency of those persons who utilize. It depends on the leadership qualities, right? So, for example, if someone is made a representative of your class, then he will given some power to control the class. Not everywhere, only in the class. Then he has then what happens? It depends on his efficiency, like how he is maintaining the class when the teacher is not there, right? And not only that, how he makes his friends what very active in making participation in group discussions, right? And not only that, and how they for example, this is, I'm talking about classroom environment, okay. I'm not talking about the state or the society, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the classroom environment. If the power is given to representative, we will say means it depends on the efficiency, how the class representative will handle the situation when the classroom is without what you call teacher, or without means if there is a situation, if the teacher is not there, there might be students might quarreling with each other. Now that depends on the efficiency, how he controls the conflicts in the classes, okay. So it depends upon efficiency of those persons who utilize actually the power. Now power, sometimes what happens, another feature is that it is coercive and implemented through the use of force. By force, sometimes as we have talked that without whether you accept or not, if some power is implemented on you by force, you have to follow, right? So power is coercive. And now the power, another feature is power belongs to those who stood supreme in the competitive race, right? And not only that, the power regulates the behavior of individuals. So power actually regulates. See, we have internal behavior and external behavior. Two behaviors are there in individuals, right? So one is individual behavior and other is or you can say personal behavior and external behavior, internal behavior, external behavior. Now if internal behavior is disturbing to the external behavior, then it will going to create a situation where the individuals can fight among themselves. So in order to put a check on that, what by using power, it controls the behavior of the individual. So students, you got it? I think you have got it, right? So for example, A is dominating B in a class, then B, what he will do, means A has to be within his limit. Okay, he should not cross his limits and hit the B. So what happens by using power, this behavior can be controlled. For example, if police is there, the police will control the external behavior of the individual so that it cannot become an harmful to the other person. So it regulates the behavior of individuals, right? So power is utilized according to motives and interests of those who exercise authority. Okay, it is utilized according to the motives and interests of those who exercise authority. Sometimes it happens, okay. And power influences the behavior of others. It is, I think, it is connected to this. Power regulates the behavior. So it influences the behavior. Sometimes it also influences the behavior of others also, right? Next, the power denotes the human relations. It depends. See, it depends on the individual, as we have talked in the earlier slide. It depends on the individual how he deals with the power with another human being. For example, if he is so powerful, if he behaves so arrogant, then no one will maintain proper relations with the person who is having that power or authority. Okay, if he maintains that power in a proper way, then this can become to develop a good human relations, and this is very much essential in international relations to maintain the relations with other countries. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the kinds of power. Okay, there are different kinds of power. So traditional power, constitutional power, direct power, indirect power, economic power, administrative power, and social power. So now we'll discuss one by one. Now what is actually traditional power? Now we can say that it is ceremonial in nature. Now it is actually it is exercised according to the customs, traditions, beliefs and usages. Okay. Now for example, if you take the constitution of Britain, do you know that is Britain constitution is a written document or unwritten document? Yes, very good. It is a unwritten document. Now how it is based actually? According to their customs, traditions, beliefs and usages, they are utilizing the power. Okay, so that is a traditional method of utilizing the power, right? Now all persons in a political system generally or usually show obedience and respect by habit of the traditional power. For example, in your house also, if you take the example of your house, you respect your elders, right? Because that is the tradition what we follow by our forefathers or grandparents, whatever it may be. That is the system of tradition we respect, right? So and we also pay obedience and we also pay respect because that is the habit we came to respect, right? And this will be continued in daily activities also, right? In our daily activities also. For example, we whenever we wake up in the morning, we'll say by wishing good morning to everyone, right? So that is the habit, right? So this is very much essential in a society, because this makes what means this behavior with others in society without any disputes and controversies. So there will be no disputes and controversies because we are maintaining good relations and good and showing obedience and respect to others. So what happens, there will be no disputes and controversies. So it is actually operative in unorganized and conservative societies. So see, when organized society, see how organized society or civil society came into existence, when the state of nature has came into an end, the civil society came into existence, or an organized society came into existence, we can say. But see, and there will be no disputes and controversies because we are respecting and we are in according to the tune in traditions and customs, right? So there will be no disputes and controversies, and there will be always cooperation, coordination and patience. We have to be very patient in order to maintain good traditional power, right? Then what happens, if tradition is there, automatically there will be cooperation among them, and also the coordination. So it is a chain system, we can say. So finally we need the patience also in order to have this kind of power. And it also sometimes depends on the individual's behavior, attitude. See, everyone, if you take the example of Hitler, example, he is so powerful that he never used to listen to others. So how the situation, what it has happened, it went for World War One, World War Two. So the arrogance, it depends actually on individual's behavior and attitude, right? The next power is the constitutional power. Now, constitutional power, we can say that it is came into came into existence in order to put an end to the state of nature, or in order to put an end to the unorganized society, what we have discussed. Okay, so unorganized, in order to put an end to the unorganized society, or to put an end to the state of nature, and to maintain the social order, what we had given power to the constitution, supreme. So who is supreme here? The constitution will be supreme, and in constitution all the rules and regulations will be in the form of a written document, and everyone has to obey the constitution, right? If you are going against to the constitution, then you are going to be get punishment. So in order to maintain the social order, the constitution power is very much essential, and it is a precise, definite and written in nature. See, document is nothing but it is a written statement. Like how a book is written, so also the constitution for every country will be written. Only the Britain, if you take, it is an unwritten constitution. Majority of the countries have written constitution, and it is actually, see, constitution is a set of basic principles and framework for governance and exercise of political power and legal authority. So it is a framework. Now what the central government has to do, and what the state governments have to do, and what the local governments have to do, and how they have to exercise the political power legal and legal authority. This is all written in the our constitution. And not only that, we have different parts. In different parts we have different rules and regulations. Like for example, part 1 deals with what India and its union states and union territories, right? And part 2 deals with the citizenship rights, and part 3 deals with the fundamental rights, part 4 directive principles, part 5 union government. Like that, we have different parts in our constitution where we have the framework for basic principles and framework for governance, right? And different articles will be there, right? And no one is permitted, even the prime minister is permitted to defy or violate the law. Everyone are equal before the law. See, we have in order to establish an egalitarian society, we need what equality of law or rule before law. Yes, rule before law, because see, this concept of rule of law was taken from A.V. Dicey, right? So he was the exponent of this equality before law. So where everyone is equal in the eyes of law, and there will be no discrimination on the grounds of power or authority. Everyone. So even the prime minister is punishable if he violates the law, right? Prime minister, president, any individual who holds the power or who does not hold the power also. Common citizen is also treated equally. Even the powerful person also treated equally. Now, the judiciary actually acts as the custodian of law. Now, actually, the judiciary protects the laws. Have you heard about the judicial review? No? Actually, the judicial review is nothing but if the executive makes the laws which cross, the boundaries or the limits of the law, and which are contradictory to the constitution, then that law is what? Yes, I have told you in Keshavananda Bharati case, right? Yes, that law will be striked off. Okay, if it is crossing beyond the limits of the constitution, then it is the judiciary, by the power of judicial review, strikes off that power, and it is nullified, we can say, right? So, did you understand constitutional power? Yes? Okay. Now, what is direct power actually? Now, direct power aims is to restrain from anti-social, anti-national and destructive acts of some persons, right? It is used against anti-social. If you are going against to the social means against to the society or against to the nation. Okay, in social we have only the people, right? So anti-social and anti-national, you are going against to the nation. And destructive acts, sometimes destructive acts are undertaken by the person. So in order to restrain from these situations, direct power is utilized. So it is utilized according to the changes in the behavior of the individuals, and sometimes it is influenced by coercion, by force, friction and divergent opinions. So in order to ease the tensions and conflicts, this direct power is utilized. Next, indirect power. Now, what is indirect power? Actually, in modern democratic countries, this is very much involved. Now, this kind of power is generally exercised by the Council of Ministers in the name of what? Nominal executive, right? And where head in a parliamentary system, I have explained you what is parliamentary system, okay? So, parliamentary system for taking action against those bureaucrats actually who are misusing the power, okay, and for consoling the people and for actually for winning their laurels. So in presidential system, this power is possessed and exercised by the president. But in parliamentary system, who will exercise? Yes, the Council of Ministers in the name of nominal executive. Okay, so persons at higher levels actually express their willingness on many occasions for exercising this kind of indirect power. Okay. Now, what is economic power? Now, economic power generally exists in capitalist society. You know what is capitalist society and what is socialist society? Yes, capitalists have the power to purchase anything because they have that economic resources. Okay. So, it is a capitalist society. Right. And it can meet, for meeting the economic and commercial needs. Why? See, economic powers generally, according to the Marxists, what they felt that it remains as a factor in the key factor in the hands of the capitalist section. So small, if you take small business concerns, firms or organization form, then a big into a big one for meeting their economic needs and commercial needs, we can say. So what happens? The economic power generally increases. Okay, now economic power actually generally influenced by social and political power. Okay, economic power is influenced by what? Social and political power, and that power actually prevails and continues when there is a proper law and order and conditions in the state. Okay, so economic power is the purchasing power, we can say. You can purchase anything because you have such economic power. Now, what is administrative power? Now, this is the power to actually to administer or enforce a certain law, right? See, power is essential for running the administration smoothly and effectively without any disturbance. Okay. Now, for example, in our college, who is the administrative, who is having power? Administrative power? Yes, the principal. Now, actually, so it is generally in the hands of the executive, legislative, in parliamentary terms. Okay. Executive, it will be in the hands of the executive, legislative or judiciary in nature. Right. So it intends to carry the laws into effect, practical application of laws and execution of principles prescribed by the lawmaker, and restrictions will be imposed. So once again, I'll explain you what is administrative. See, for anything, for running the institution or anything or a company, we require administrative power in order to achieve the aims and objectives of that institution. Okay, I have given the example of our college. Now, the principal has the executive has the administrative power. Okay, so she will take the decision for the benefit of the institution. So also it is actually the power for formulating and implementing the administrative policies of the government. Okay, now we are coming to government. I have given the example of our institution for your uh, proper understanding, right? So actually, for whichever the policies are formulated or implemented, uh, that administrative policy for the administrative policies of the government. So sometimes what happens, the type of power may also in certain so for certain times it lies in the non-governmental organizations also. Now so many elements like delegated legislation, we can say, and rule of law, advice of the skilled officers in the administrative officers, etc., become a major source of administrative power, we can say, right? So restrictions will be imposed. Now we'll discuss about the last power, that is social power. So what all we have discussed? Yes, anyone? Yes, very good. Traditional power. Yes, constitutional power. Direct power. Indirect power. Economic power. Administrative power. Yes, finally we are going to discuss about social power. Now social power actually is very much we can say a potential for what? Social influence. Okay. For example, social power is actually formulated on the basis of some elements like property, office, status, etc. in a society. Okay, so how you will be actually become very powerful in a society? When you have lot of property, or when you have a good reputed company or office, and you have good reputation, status, like that. So this all represents what? A social power. Sometimes the social power is also represented by religious priests also, right? A majority, most of them go to religious priests, right? Because they influence in such, they are influence people in such a way that they will be attracted, right? Religious priests, caste heads, musicians, trade union leaders, right? Film stars. Some, of course, film stars also have a charismatic power also that makes them very much powerful in society, right? And others, we can say, that is converted into a social power. And similarly, sometimes like public opinion, press, television, radio also sometimes will exercise their influence on social power. For example, if you take this radio jockeys, how they will become a good means social, they will attract through their voice, right? And they will make you aware of things going in and around, and you will like you will be impressed how that is how will they will get a kind of social recognition, right? See, not only property, office, status, but also through when you become means musicians, trade union leaders, film stars. When you fight for something as a union leader, then you'll get a good recognition, reputation, right? So similarly also public opinion sometimes, even the press, television, radio, etc., will also exercise their influence on social power. So, see here, social power is very much the degree of social power of influence that individual or organization. See, it is acquired through individual also and through organization, as among their peers and within their society as a whole. Okay, and it can be formulated on the basis of some elements like property, office, status, right, reputation, etc. and sometimes it is represented by religious priests, caste heads, musicians, trade union leaders. So of course sometimes it happens. Okay, so this is about the features and kinds of the power. So tomorrow we are going to discuss about the elements of power. Okay students, thank you. Please revise this and come tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much.